Hi, today we're going to create multi-hoop text. That is text that's going to fit in more than one hooping using your palette 9 or 10 or using your PE Design 9 or Next or version 10. So the first thing I have done is I have opened up layout and editing in my palette, and then I have gone to a blank screen. So we're going to start setting up the text. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my design page. I'm going to start out by using the 5x7 hoop because I know, say, 7 inches is as wide as I can go on my text, so I'm going to start there. I will probably change this later, so I hit OK. Okay, now I have the 5x7 hoop. Make sure that you turn on your grid, and I believe you go to grid to the view here, and you want to show your grid, and you can tell it what interval you want it to be. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to home, and I'm going to select text, and I hit my text key, and right now I have it set for that block lettering. Instead I'm going to pick, I think I'm going to pick number 5, which is more of a script, and I want the size to be probably about 0.6, in other words 6/10 of an inch. I want my color to be maybe a different color. Let's go with blue. Okay. The other thing is I want this one to be in the center. My text attributes, I want this to be center justified. So I'm going to come down here about right in the center of my hoop, and I'm going to start typing in the first line of the text. Now this program, you have to do one line at a time separately. You can't do multiple lines. So anyway, put rules. See, if I tried to put a carriage return, it ends up setting, whoops, I don't want that set, but for some reason it did something weird. When you have something weird happen, always go to these keys right here to the side that show a house, and that sets things back to the factory default. Okay, and I'm going to put that up near the top, so just scoot it up. And remember, to move things you need to see this double white arrow. Okay, now the next line. Go back to text. It should remember the same thing. I'll come down to the middle, rules, and I'll put of the kitchen. Enter. Okay, I think that's too far apart. Okay, I'm not crazy about that. So what I want to do is I'm going to eliminate some of this space between the words. So actually I'm going to come down to kerning. So here's where I want to move. I want to get rid of some of that. So I'm going to click on this little white diamond on the T. Then I'm going to come over here to kerning. I'm going to go maybe -20. Yeah. And see now, see it pop over and come closer. Same thing with this K. I'm going to go down to a -22 also. Okay, now this time I want to change the font to, say, number 8, and that was telling me that it's going to do uppercase, lowercase, numbers, special characters, and punctuation as well. This time I want it smaller. I think I want this down at 0.3. I think I don't have any of those that I like, so I'm going to make it 0.3, which is a little bigger than 1/4 of an inch. And I want them to be a different color. I think I want them to be black. Okay, now I'm going to come down here. Oh, and the other thing I want to change, my text attributes, I want these now to be left justified, not center justified. So I'm going to come over here approximately 1 dot over and start typing. See how that looks very strange? Here's the problem. There we go. That makes more sense. 2 days. Menu. Eat it. 4. I think that's all will fit. Okay, come over here and do some more text. And put in the second line. Okay, now I'm going to do a little bit of alignment. So I'm going to come over here to select, go to my home. I want to zoom in on it, right this area. Okay, and now I think that's too close, so I'm going to hit select. Actually, that one looks pretty good, so I'm going to select both of these. And I want to move them down just a little bit. Okay, and I'm noticing I'm having it start, say, on the second click over. Then the other thing too is that I want this to be about one of these grids away between the lines. Okay, now I'm going to come back to text, start keying in line 2, and again I'll come about there. I can adjust it later. It says 2. If you want breakfast in bed, bed won't fit. Okay, and enter. Okay, I'm going to look for the double white line and move this up so that I have about 4 of those little dots in between. That looks like a good 1, 2, 3, 4 could go. Yeah, then the top of the eye fits there. Okay, then type in another line. I'll start this one about here. When you key in another line, it remembers what settings you had last time, so you don't have to make adjustments. Comma, sleep in the kitchen. And enter. Adjust it up. Do I like how that spacing is? Once you've decided how you like the spacing, you want to keep it consistent, so you want all these to start along the same vertical grid line, and you say you want within the paragraph, I want them 1 little space apart and 4 between the paragraphs. So I'm going to go ahead and key in the rest of this poem, so I won't take up your time. I will move it and play with it and move those lines exactly where I want them. Okay, so in order to get it to save, I need to create a hoop. And I'm going to see if it'll fit in a different hoop that I already have. Let's try the 7 by 11 and see if it fits in that. Oh, I don't want a custom size. Don't want to rotate it. Let's see if it fits in there. Okay, I'm not sure, so I'm going to hit select all. See if I can get it to fit in a hoop here. So I'm going to go to arrange, align, move to the center. Do it all in one swoop. Let's see if it'll fit. Looks like it fits. Okay, if it didn't fit, if I tried to save it and it still wouldn't fit, then what I'd have to do is to come into Design Settings and create my own hoop. So I can edit a user hoop. Don't have one here, but I want to edit. I'm going to edit one. And I want to make one, say, I want it to be, let's make it 8 by 14. And it's an add hoop. Okay, 8 by 14. There's no such hoop like that, but that's okay, because now I could come over here and pick 8 by 14. Okay, it definitely fits in this fictitious 8 by 14 hoop. But now I can look at it. It'll now allow me to save it can never stitch it because no, my machine doesn't do that, but now I can come back and look at the whole thing. But we're going to be using a 5x7 frame, so the first thing I need to do is to change my frame size. So I will come over to the home key. I want my design settings, and like right now it's set up for the 7x11. I'm going to change this to the 5x7 hoop. So here's the 5x7 hoop. I want to rotate it 90 degrees to give me the maximum width. And now notice it's a little too big. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to zoom it and zoom out so I can see the whole thing. Okay, so now I want to select this whole thing and scoot it all down because I want it to fit inside of this area. So I'm going to hit select, select all, and I am going to scoot this down. And wait for, so you want to wait for the double white arrow and scoot it down until that top part is fitting inside the hoop. Okay, I'm going to zoom in so I can see this a little better. I'm going to zoom it into this area because now I want to start eliminating the parts that will not fit in that hoop. Let me zoom in a little more because I want to zoom into this area. Okay, so now I want to draw a line, which is I'm going to use my line tools. I'm going to just make sure it's a running stitch, and I'm selecting a red color. And I'm going to use these little grids right here that we used before, and I'm sort of going to come near the end, pick here, come down to, come to the middle so that it's a straight line where your center axis is, go up 2, down 2, over to this end, and then up 2. And double click to set it. Okay, set it as a red line. And I want that to stitch last. So I'm going to go now to select, the select tool. And let's zoom that out a little bit. Okay, and I am going to now select this whole bottom part. Do not select the little red line that we just made, the reference line, and just hit my delete key and it's all gone. Okay, so now that I know all this fits in that 5x7 hoop, I can come in here and save it as, and I probably want to save it as my palette. I'm going to call it Palette Rules 1 and save it. And I'll put yes. Okay, so I've already done this once. Okay, now to do the second hooping. So we've already done the first part. So I'm going to simply hit the undo key and bring the rest back. Okay, everything is back. For the second hooping, I need 2 reference lines. Okay, now I'm going to zoom around this reference line. Okay, I'm going to hit select because I want to select that. And I hover over it until I see the properties box show up. Actually, before I select the properties box, come back here, I want to go to sewing attributes because I want this to be bigger, almost a 1/4 inch stitch length. I want to change that stitch length to make it really long. Okay, and now that it is selected, I'm going to come up here and copy it. I want a reference line at the top and a reference line at the bottom during this second hooping. So right now I have the one in place for the top, but I want to add another one. First thing I want to do is make sure this stitch is out first. So I'm going to come up here to the sewing order, and I have this red box selected, and I'm going to hit sewing order. So now it makes the reference line that I made last time stitch out first. I'm going to select these items that I've already stitched out. Hit the delete key, remove them. Okay. I'm going to go to select all, and I'm going to move and then get the double arrow, move everything up. So now it fits inside of the hoop. Okay, I'm going to put the second reference line underneath number 6 here. So what I'm going to do is now come over to here, and once I have this, I'm going to hit paste. And it's added, notice over here it's added a second reference line. I'm going to zoom in so that I can see it really well. I have this second line here. I want to select it, so I'm going to come out here where I know it is till I get the select boxes, the double white line, and I'm going to scoot it down. And now I'm going to come below and remove the bottom part. Oops, I left one in. Delete that one. And this is going to be my second hooping, so I will save this as my palette rules number 2 and save it. Yep, saved. Okay. Okay, here's the message that tells me I don't have the whole thing in, and I can see where the problem is. See, I moved it too high, so I'm not going to save it. Select all. I'm going to scoot it down a little bit. I just moved it up a little too high. Try saving it again. It liked it that time. Now what I'm going to do is undo until I have the poem back, or at least I have the bottom part back. I think we're all back now. Yep, it is. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to eliminate the part we stitched during the second hooping. So I'm just going to select this part, delete it. I'm going to select all, move it all up to fit inside of the hoop, and let's see if we've gotten it all in there. I believe we do. And the only thing left to do is now make sure this reference line is stitched first. So we select it and move it first, then save it as our third hooping. And there, it's done. So now we are ready to save these files to a jump stick or directly to your machine and stitch them out. You could print them out if you like to create a template for you. Okay, I'll see you at the sewing machine in part 2 of this video. And I think it's called Sewing a Multi-Hoop Design. Bye. I mean,